Welcome back. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to work on the table here that's going to display people. And to do this, first I'm going to here in this section, we need to create this inside the section. Inside this section, I'm going to create a new div. I'm going to say here table, and then first I'm going to create a div. And I'm going to give this div, I'm going to give it a class called board. And inside it, I'm going to create I'm going to create a table, and that table will first have a width, and the width is going to be 100%. 100% because I want the table to take the complete width of the screen. Of course, I'm not considering this. I'm considering from here all the way to the end. So I'm talking about this area. So for this table, first we need to display the columns. So I'm going to say t head, and for the t head, first I'm going to display tr, which is the raw, and inside that raw we need the td, the data, table data. Each td represents a column. So the td, the first td, I'm going to say name. The second td, I'm going to display the, let's say, title. The third td, I'm going to display, let's say, status. The fourth, role. And lastly, I'm going to display an empty TD. And let me save first and let me refresh and show you how it's going to look like. So as you can see, this is the table. Here, of course, it's not clear yet because I didn't work on the design yet. So let me continue. So the next thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to work on the body. The body should come after the head. So after the head, I'm going to say T body. For the T body, we want first TR. TR is a row. So for the first row, I'm going to display here for this first row, I'm going to display TD, table data, and in the first TD, in the first column, I'm going to display here, actually it should be here, TD. First, I'm going to give it a class, this TD, I'm going to give it a class. I'm going to say class people. And then inside that TD, I'm going to display the image. I'm going to say P, and inside that P, I'm going to say image, img. And I'm going to say here source, and the source is going to be equal to assets / images / one.jpg, which is a person. It's just a person. Let me save and let me here refresh. As you can see, this is the person will be displayed here, but again we need to work on the image because the image is being displayed full size and we don't want that. After I resize the image, it's gonna look amazing. So this is the first thing. The second thing is that below this image, I'm gonna display here div, and first I'm gonna give this div a class. I'm gonna say class, and the class is people description. And inside it, first I'm gonna display the name of the person. I'm gonna use the H5 to display the name, and then below the name I'm gonna display the email. I'm gonna say here email. I'm gonna type a fake email, and below the name and the email we need to create another TD, another column. So the second column will display remember the second column will display the title. So for the title, I'm gonna say TD, and then for the second, for this TD, I'm gonna first give it a class. I'm gonna say people people, let's say just this. And inside it, I'm gonna display the role, the title. So the title is the job title. So I'm gonna again use H5, and I'm gonna say here, let's say software engineer. And then below it, I'm gonna display the sub-specialization inside the paragraph. Let's say web developer. And below, I'm gonna display another uh, cell below the status. So the status is whether the employee, whether this person or employee is active or not, whether this person is still working or not. I'm gonna say TD, and then for this TD, I'm gonna give it a class active, and then I'm gonna say here P active. And below this TD, we need another TD for the last TD for the role. So the role is just um, it's just the role of that person. What does this person do? So I'm gonna say here class role. I'm gonna say here P employee. Let me save and let me also display the last TD. So the last TD is just going to have a class called edit, and it's gonna have a P and inside it a tag, and this a tag will have the href is just gonna be hash, and then edit. It's just a link. Let me now save and let me head on over to the browser and refresh. And as you can see here, we have here, as you can see on the right side, we have software engineer, web developer, blah blah blah, but everything is not good because we need to work on the design. Let's work on the design now, because otherwise it's not gonna look good at all. So the first thing that we need to work on in the style.css is that we need to work on the board. Remember, the first thing that I created is that I created a class called board. So for the board here, let me create this class first. Here I'm gonna say table or board. Let me say table because it's a table. I'm gonna say board. So for the board, first I'm gonna give it a width 90%, and the margin is 30 top, 0 right, 30 bottom, and 30 left. And let me explain this. The width is 90% because I don't want the table to here. The table is going to take this area, but I don't want it to be to touch the end from here and the end from here, from the right and from the left sides. Therefore, I said here 90%, not 100%. The margin 30 top because I want to add obviously margin from the top, and also margin from the left and margin from the bottom. Also, the overflow is gonna be auto, and the background of the table of the board will be white. Lastly, I'm gonna add border radius. Border radius will just soften the edges. Border radius 8px. This is for the board. Let me refresh, but it's not gonna look great still. As you can see, still it doesn't look great because of the image. The image ruined our design. So let's continue and then everything will be clear. Let's now work on the image. So I'm gonna say board image, and for the image I'm gonna first set the width to be only 45px and the height also 45px. Let me show you the difference now. Now if I refresh, the image will be too small. Now the table is clear. As you can see, the table will take almost the complete width. Let's increase the width of the table a little. So here, instead of saying 90, I'm gonna say 95. So this should increase it further. As you can see, it's going to increase it further. I think 95 is perfect. So for the image, we need to continue working on the image. So for the image, I'm going to also say object fit cover, because I want the image to cover its container. Also, we want border radius 50% because I want the image to be displayed inside a circle. Let me show you what's going to happen now. The image will be displayed inside a circle now. Lastly, for the image, I'm going to give it margin right, 15px, because here we want margin right because I'm going to be displaying this text next to it. Let me refresh, and here there will be a margin once I display the text here. Let me now work on the text. So for the text, we need to say here board H5. So for the text, I'm gonna change the font first. The font weight is gonna be 600, and the font size is gonna be 14px. Let me show you how this looks. So as you can see, it's much smaller. Let's also work on the paragraph. So for the paragraph, I'm gonna change also the font weight 400, and the font size 15px. So the font size is slightly greater than the font of the H5. Lastly, I'm going to change the color. So the color is going to be this color, 787D8D. Let me now show you how this looks. So this is the color. The color is different. Now let's work on the people, which is this people class. This people class represents the image. It represents the image as well as the text. We want the text to be displayed next to the image, and to do this, we need to say board people display flex. We want the display to be flex, and we want the justify content to be flex start. This is gonna let the image be displayed side by side with the text. And then we want the align items center, and the text align start. Let me now save and let me show you how this is going to look like. As you can see, the text will be displayed side by side with the image. Next, we want to work on we want to fix actually this. We want to add some margins from the top, and margins from the top and from the left and right. And all of this should be done using the table. So I'm going to say here table. First, I'm going to say table, and the table, I'm going to give it a border collapse, collapsible. And the TR for each TR in the table, for each TR, for each row, I want the border bottom to be 1px solid, EF0 F3. So here there will be a kind of a line, but it's not clear because the color is white. It's gonna be clear if you add more rows, and I'm gonna be showing you this later. Next, we want to work on the TD each column. So for each column, I'm gonna say T head TD, and I'm gonna change for each TD. I'm gonna change the font size. The font size is gonna be 14px. The text transform upper. The text is gonna be upper. the text here, the text, the name here, the title, the status, the role will be uppercase. And the font weight is 400. And the background, I'm going to be using this background color F0 FAFB. Let me show you now. If I refresh, as you can see, it's uppercase and it has this color which is the background color, which is white. It's almost white. So this is for the TD. Lastly, we want to align the text. So the text here, the text, I'm going to say text start. We want it to be displayed on the left side. So I'm going to say text align start. Align start. And lastly, I'm gonna give it some padding from all sides, 15 px. Now it should look better. So as you can see, it's much better now. Now what we want to do is that we want to work on the TD inside the TR, inside the body. So for the T body TR TD, for each of these TDs, we want to change the padding. We want to add padding. This is very important. So the padding from the top is 10 px, and also from the bottom, and 15 from right and left. Now guess what? If I refresh, guess what? Now it looks amazing. Now it's being displayed just below its column. So name, and then here the name and the text, title here, status, role, and edit. Perfect. Lastly, we want to work on the active class. Remember, we have here active, this active class P. So for this, I'm going to change the color, and I'm going to also change the background color and the display and the color. So I'm going to say active P, and then I'm going to say background D7FADA. This is the background. The padding is going to be 2px top and bottom and 10 left right. Display in line block, and the border radius is 40px. Border radius 40px. And lastly, I'm gonna change the color. So the color is gonna be this color, 2B, 2B, 2B. Let me now show you how this would look like. So as you can see, this is how it's gonna look like. This is for the B. Lastly, we want to work on the edit button. This edit button, we need to fix it because it has here its color is blue and it has a line below it. So we need to remove these two things. So I'm gonna say here, I'm gonna say .edit A. So for the edit A, I'm gonna first say text decoration none, and the font size 14px. And lastly, I'm going to change the color and the font weight. The color, I'm going to be using this color 554 CD1, which is a blue color. The font weight is 600. So this is for the A tag, for the A tag, that's the button. Let me now save and refresh and show you how this would look like. As you can see now, the color has been changed, and also the line below the word has been removed. Now what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna repeat this row many times. So what I'm going to do is that here in the index.html, I'm going to close this tr, and then I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to give myself some space, and then I'm going to paste it 1, 2, 3 times, or 4 times, and I'm going to change the image. Remember, we have in the images, we have 1, 2, 3. So we can use these 3 images. So for the first one, we already used the first one. The first one is 1. The second one, I'm going to say here 2. And I'm going to change the text here, change the name, for example. I'm going to change the name and the email, and also the title. And here I'm going to also change the image. I'm going to say 3 and change the name also. And let's also change the title here. And lastly, we have here another employee. Let's use 1, and here let's use another name. And that's it. Let me now save, and let me head on over to the browser and refresh. And now we should have 4, as you can see, or even 5 rows, which now looks perfect. Now we have 5 rows, and each one displays a different employee with different data.